Ottish.com. Learn anywhere, anytime.
Namaste, good morning for the class of statistics for agriculture officer. Agriculture officers statistics within the economics भित्र चाहिँ यो हाम्रो स्ट्याटिस्टिक्स टर्महरु छ. My name is Ramkrishna Tamang, MSc in Statistics. Nowadays I am assistant professor of 𝐻𝐓𝐓𝐈𝐒𝐇 Agriculture campus. Now move to our class for statistics for agriculture officer. First of all, within our class, inside the statistics, these are the content or topics that are the first one is the frequency distribution and measure of central tendency, including the different types of presentation, that is said to be bar and pie charts. That is sort of that are the presentation of qualitative data. Next one is within these topics or this syllabus course of study. Next one is computational of different central tendencies, that is the based upon the mean, that is the quantitative data. Similarly for the dispersion, that is the scattering variation, that is the standard deviation from the different types of the frequency distribution based upon the group and ungroup frequency distribution, that is the based upon the previous frequency distribution, types of the frequency distribution. Next, special types of the different types of statistical terms, that is inferential statistics. Within the inferential statistics, these are the terms, that is hypothesis testing. This is also said to be a test of significance and confidence interval, that is a part of the estimation. Similarly, next of that is the cause and effect relationship between two or more than two variables, that is a regression and correlation analysis, that for the at least two different variables that should be measured the relationship between the two variables. Another one based upon the different types of error, that is estimate of error, that is based on the sampling and control of error. These are the based upon the experimental design. Next one is the different types of census conducted by the Central Bureau of Statistics, that is agriculture census. Based upon this type of census, we already study the sample survey and its different types of advantage or merits over the census or complete enumeration. Next one, source of sampling, non-sampling errors, and these should be minimized, such as the errors or that different types of the sampling design for the current collection of agriculture census, that is conducted by the CBS in the context of Nepal. Next one, in the case of the research purpose, that is the rapid and participatory rural appraisal, that is also known as the RRA and PRA. These are the contents. Now next move on our specific topics, that is based upon the frequency distribution. We start the class from frequency distribution. This is nothing. This is the simply table. This is simply distribution. This is simply characteristics or classification of quantitative variable. If the quantitative variable taken for the certain study, that's the very large mass of data, then that type should be easily readable to convert by using the frequency distribution, transfer through the frequency distribution. Frequency means, in the case of the frequency distribution, frequency is nothing. That is the frequency means a number of times repeat the different values of or certain values of variable or that are repeated within the given series or within the observed set of data. That is the frequency. Therefore, frequency is based upon the frequency distribution. And similarly, we need to explain the definition or concept of the frequency distribution based upon the frequency, that is the maximum number of times repeat the observation or repeat the values of variable, or either in the single value or group value or certain range or certain limits. There are the next, that is the frequency distribution is the arrangement or classification or distribution of the values of either single or group, that is said to be more variables in the different groups, different class, different intervals, different limits with respective or corresponding frequencies or repetitions. That types of the distribution is said to be a arrangement, is said to be a classification, is said to be a frequency distribution. Another case, frequency distribution is simply table, that is a kind of the table which is used to organize or classify or arrange or present the data, that is based on quantitative data. You know there are two types of variables, one should be quantitative, another one is qualitative. Quantitative means occurs in the numeric, for example, height, weight, and this type of variable or yield. These are the quantitative variable. For color, shape, these are the qualitative variable, naming variable. This frequency distribution to purpose of present the quantitative variables. The left column, there are two columns, that is the one should be values of variable, another one is their respective frequencies. Therefore, left column is said to be a class, groups or values of variable, which include the different numerical values of variable or numerical intervals, numerical limits, numerical range of the variable under the study, under the investigation, under the research. And another column contain in the table contain the list of frequency, list of repetition, list of occurrence of each class, each numbers, each groups or each limits. Therefore, interval are normally based upon the equal size or of equal size or equal limits, converting into the observation that is said to be sample observation or observation taken from the study. And the number of occurrence sample observation in the range, and it is simply table which is the gather or collect or arrange the data in group into the number of classes and number of occurrence which fall in the each class or each groups should be recorded. This type of distribution or arrangement or class or table is simply table is said to be a frequency distribution. Therefore, frequency distribution is nothing, that is simply arrangement of the values of variable with respective frequencies or respective values of variables there with respect to percentage or repetition. Frequency distribution is the statistical table, statistical presentation which shows present the different set of the distinct values of variable, different values of variable arranged in order of magnitude, either individually or groups, that is the limit, that is based upon their characteristics with respective or corresponding frequencies. That is given by the definition of frequency distribution by Croxton and Cowden. These are the definition of frequency distribution given by Croxton and Cowden. This way we define the frequency distribution of the observed set of the quantitative variables. Next, we move the frequency distribution constructed for the following main different types of function, purpose or reason or properties, features, which are the first one, that is the to facilitate the analysis of numerical data, numerical variable or numerical observation. Numerical observation, we need to treat the, need to analyze the, need to get the result of different further statistical purpose. Therefore, first step to construct the frequency distribution based upon the available quantitative variables. Next one, to estimate the frequencies of unknown population, because we conduct the different research based on the sample. Therefore, we estimate or predict, forecast the unknown population distribution or nature of the population from observation or distribution or frequency distribution of sample. स्याम्पलबाट आएको डेटालाई पपुलेसनमा or इन्टायर युनिटमा कस्तो देखिन्छ भनेर we should present or classify the data based upon the frequency distribution. Next one, to facilitate the calculation of various statistical measurements, that is the central tendency, that is the mean, median, mode, either our measure of dispersion, that is the range, quartile deviation, mean deviation, standard deviation, similarly skewness, kurtosis, further correlation, regression also calculated by using this type of frequency distribution, that are for the bivariate distribution. Based on the frequency distribution, we also study there types of frequency distribution. Generally, there are two types of frequency distribution. One must be on-group frequency distribution, that is also known as the discrete series. Another one is the group frequency distribution, that is said to be a group frequency distribution, also known as the continuous series, or that for the range distribution or limit distribution. There are two types of the frequency distribution within the types of frequency distribution, starting from the group frequency distribution, ungroup frequency distribution or discrete series. This is for the values of variable with respective frequency. This is simply table that occurs to only single values of variable with respective frequencies. Each class, each group, each limit should be contains only one values with respective frequency within the frequency distribution. That type of the frequency distribution is said to be a ungroup frequency distribution or discrete series. The series or the distribution which has been different values of variable, that is said to be based upon the single values with respective or corresponding frequencies, or tables, or a kind of table, a kind of simply frequency table which consists of values of variable with respective or corresponding frequencies. That is known as the ungroup frequency distribution. In another word, ungroup frequency distribution is also known as the discrete series. This type of frequency distribution contains the single values of variable within the table and respective repetition, that is said to be a frequency distribution.